Here's some things I always take with me for my snare drum, and why I take them with me is because I don't know what the room is going to sound like, how the drum is going to sound in the room. And these are things that fit in my snare drum case that I take with me that help me change tones, really, on a dime. So the first thing is I have a cloth quesadilla. And again, this hooks on a magnet, you can see right here. And so I can easily flip this on and off. And it kind of gives it more of a vintage, dead, softer 70s snare drum sound. Another thing I carry, must have, is the original big fat snare drum. So this covers the entire snare drum, and again gives it obviously a little bit of a fatter sound, kind of changes the tone on an instant. And I also have, I believe this is called, I think this is called Steve's Ring of some sort. It creates a little bit of a drier, not quite as fat and wet. And I found, so for example, right here, this is a nickel over brass, otherwise known as a Black Beauty snare. I found that this kind of works a lot better on this drum than, say, if I used this guy on my nickel over brass snare drum. If I'm using something like an acrylite, which is kind of my daily driver for a lot of gigs I do, I found out just that this guy works a lot better, sounds a lot better than this guy. But again, it's all about the room and very much about the drum as well. And lastly, I have one of these jingle rings. I like using this because if I'm using like a single ply head that's kind of ringing open like on an Ambassador, this does a couple things. This actually makes this drum kind of crack a little bit more. Also, if I'm doing something kind of janky like New Orleans sounds, where I want a little bit of more percussive sound, this comes in handy. I always carry some version, some variation of about like 3 or 4 of these. It's also great if you just want to change tones on the fly, if you're in the studio, or if you're just at home practicing and want to get kind of a different vibe or a different feel. All in all these things I would say are probably less than $100 combined, and for me it's really an invaluable part of my arsenal when I'm playing a gig, whether it's in the studio or it's live, or I have a litany of snare drums at my disposal. I always have kind of a few of those laying around. So yeah, absolutely worth the investment. Definitely check it out.